welcome back to the channel. My name is Nana Gamco, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the scheduling for next month. I plan on recording Doki Doki Literature Club because it is going to be the month of October next month. And for this month, I thought I wanted to share with you guys some fan fictions I wrote on my fanfiction account. This is my fanfiction.net account, going by the same title as my channel. I thought I did this earlier this year. I did it from March all the way through to the last chapter I posted was back in June on one of my stories, and since then I've been on a little bit of a block. I'm trying to figure out what to come up next with for my stories. For this one, I want to go back to the Minecraft video I did a little while back ago. It was a little bit ago. It was with me and Zach, and we're discussing stuff. Well, I had discussed one of my fan fictions, and I wanted to go further into that fan fiction and actually kind of read it for you guys. I thought it would be kind of interesting. Some of my stuff here is actually pretty interesting. It is from my brain as well. You can come and look at some of these if you want. I will say the grammar is not perfect, spelling's not perfect, and sometimes it might be a little confusing, but it is pretty good. Especially this one right here. This is the one I made and I was talked about on my episode of Minecraft. But it is not popular on here as much as it's popular on and I'm back. This is on my Wattpad account. This is one I made a few years back, even longer, so I used it just to read. I made a couple previously made stories, but I never looked at them ever again. And on here, it is a lot more popular, having nearly 28 people look at it, and having good rankings. See, like, this is most impressive ranking out of everything I've had. But I've had, see, this is the list of rankings I had put on here. See, this is also got 1 vote by someone. I don't know what that means by, and I think that means over 5 minutes. It would take someone over 5 minutes to read this. I wrote this and posted it on here as well. You can look at, there's a couple that are on my fanfiction that are not on here. If you wanted to look at my fanfiction, you would go on there to read this. And I made this myself. See, this is still ongoing. Don't know why I said it a few seconds ago. I'm just now looking at this. But this is my story. I want to read it on here for you guys. So, me doing it, me getting the extra reads for reading this is not gonna really count for much. I want to read it on here because this is where it was more popular than on my other one. Because on fanfiction, there is actually not any Taliban Hanako-kun fanfictions, which saddened me greatly. So when I did Wattpad, I posted it on here because this is where it was more popular. So this is my story. I'm related to Exorcist, the Kamome Academy experience. This is something I wrote briefly after another story I wrote involving a Yu-Gi-Oh crossover involving fairy tale. I made this. I don't know why, don't know how, don't know what made me come up with it. It just happened because I thought it'd be interesting. But as you can see the summary here, right here. Hey, did you hear about Yugimoto? He's related to the Minamotos. After the passing of his grandfather, cousins he never knew he had contact him and invite him to live with them. A new city, a new life, and a new school, and a new venture in a school where the supernatural roam. This is not technically the same as the one I put on here. It is, yeah, it is pretty much. Had reached out to him and bring him to a new town. So it's basically the same. I did exact same summary. I tried to copy the summary almost word for word, as well as doing this. Contains an OC of my own creation. I don't own any Yu-Gi-Oh! Or TBHK characters in the story. Yes, this is very good story I've written. It's one of my favorite stories I've ever written, and it's also the one I'm stuck tragically on the most, especially with the last chapter being the most interesting thing I've written. Now, I'm going to read this to you guys because I feel like doing this because this is something I enjoy. This is something I want to give people an experience to either look at this video or go and read it themselves. It's up to you guys entirely whether or not you guys are actually going to watch this video. That is completely and entirely up to you, because this is a subjective video I felt like posting. So if you don't like it, you can watch anything else I post, because I will be going through and I'll be doing games alongside this. I just felt like doing this for my own beneficial. I will be doing, each video will have a chapter of the story. It will only feature that chapter. You want to go over the last chapter before checking out the new one I talk about, then you go right on ahead. I might not mention too much of the previous chapter in it, but you may proceed with how you want to do it. But for me, this is how I'm going to do it. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. The very first picture, I used a really joyful one. I should not have done that. It already sets the mood terribly for it. Okay, but see, I can have it where I can edit, add more, or even vote on the damn chapter. See, this is the chapter that was voted on because it was good. Sadly, I have no comments on any of my stuff, so it's the sad part. See, chapter 1, the funeral and a letter. See, this is my thing. Welcome to my brand new story idea. This one hit me for some reason just after reading some TBHK fanfictions on Wattpad. I wondered how it would go if Yugimoto was secretly related to the Exorcist family, the Minamotos. This is his new life at Kamome Academy. Yes, it sets it off beautifully, don't you think? Let's go ahead and proceed. Yuki's heart clenched tightly. He could barely breathe sitting there in his best wear. He wasn't there for a wedding. That would have given him a completely different feeling altogether. He felt numb inside, even as his best friends surrounded him inside the church as the priest talked about the life his grandpa lived. He could feel the tears on his face, but he couldn't remember expressing them. He could feel his partner, Yami, floating just next to him, Spirit having an even harder time keeping it together so he wouldn't cry. Before I even go any further, the characters for this is, it might not all be all together. It might not be somewhat familiar to you, but I wrote this the best way I thought I could express the characters. So if they seem a little OOC or not technically themselves, or don't even sound identical, it might be because I didn't write it perfectly. But that is just how I feel. Okay, let's just go ahead and continue. He could hear the sniffling all around him, even the blowing of noses. He was barely listening to the priest as he talked. He looked up to see the giant picture frame of his grandpa in his best and most recent picture. They laid the ashes of his grandpa. He wanted to cremate him so he could scatter his ashes. Soon the priest was finished, and everyone slowly left the church. The only ones who remained was Yugi himself and his best friends Bakura, Joey, Taya, and Tristan. What made this worst of all was the school year just started. It was just 5 months into freshman year of high school. Yugi rarely knew his own friends for the 3 of those months, since he met Joey and Tristan Bakura in school, while him and Taya had been friends since junior high school. Joey stood first and went and took the picture down while Tristan carried the urn. Silently, Bakura and Taya helped him to his feet as the 5 of them walked out of the church. They could feel looks from almost everyone who visited the funeral, a lot of them friends of the family. Yugi didn't have any direct relatives he knew of. His mother passed, his father gone before her passing. All he had was Grandpa Solomon. The old man raised Yugi when he was young after his mom passed away. He didn't know if there was any family on his mom's side, or even who his father was. Getting back into the dark house was something Yugi hadn't wanted to do. The last week since his grandpa passed, in his sleep, he had been staying with one of his friends rather than at home alone. He pulled out the keys to the shop/house, unlocked the door, turned on the light, letting his friends come in. Yugi hadn't noticed, but Bakura had taken the penguins they had left at the funeral. Or the bouquet. The bouquet. I can't fucking read right. Apparently, take the bouquet they had left at the funeral. He wasn't very fond of flowers, so the overzealous amount just annoyed his nose and his eyes at how colorful it was meant to be. Hey, Bakura, do you mind taking those home with you or giving them to someone else? Bakura nodded, a faint smile on his face. Someone down at the hospital might enjoy a banquet this big. A bouquet this big. I'm thinking of food right now. My brain is so bad. Bouquet this big. His friends all nodded at the idea. It sounded sweet. Taya noticed the full mailbox and went outside to fetch everything from it. Some of it was packages for the shop, some were bills, others just spam mail. But there was a letter in there directed to Yugimoto, or spelled Muto Yugi in the traditional way. Yugi, you got a letter in the mail. He looked solemnly at his own female friend as he takes the letter from her. He sat down on the couch as his friends went through the mail for him. He opens the letter slowly, unfolding the fat letter and what felt like a plane ticket. Whoever sent you this letter sent it with a purpose for there to be a plane ticket in it. Yomi spoke in the young boy's ear. Joey took the plane ticket from Yugi and checking the date. Whoa, what the hell? This ticket is for the day after tomorrow. Just who the heck are these guys? His friends gathered around after looking through the mail and sat down with Yugi as he looked at the letter. Dear Muto Yugi, you probably don't know who I am or why you got this letter. Well, I do know that my father is your mother's brother. Why does it matter that they're related? We heard about Grandpa Solomon's passing from our dad just a couple days before writing this to you. We are deeply sorry for your loss. As your cousins, we wanted to invite you to Tokyo to live with us. I left a phone number in the letter if you wanted to call directly before you decided. I also left a completely refundable plane ticket scheduled for 5 days after this letter gets to you. Please contact us soon. No expenses necessary. Dad will even handle Grandpa's house for you to be able to hold on to in the future if you ever want to move back to Domino. For now, I'll end this letter. My phone number is on the back of the letter. Hope to hear from you soon. Your oldest cousin, Minamoto Teru. He finished reading before turning the letter around and reading the phone number. It's a Tokyo area number, all right. He got off the couch and walked to the phone. He picked up the receiver, started punching the numbers in to call. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3. He almost hung up the phone when the other line clicked. Domo, Minamoto residence. did a little bit of Japanese crap in this as well. I did it because I was in the mood for it. Because when I was doing this, I had watched a lot of subbed anime and listened to a lot of anime openings, so I just did it. So please refrain from insulting or doing anything stupid. Okay. Domo, Minamoto residence. Yugi almost choked on his words. Yes, I got the letter today. Go, man. I haven't been home. I just got back to the house since his passing. The voice on the phone was a higher pitch, but it was of a male. Oh, Muto! You actually called. Hang on, let me get Teruni. The phone went quiet besides a on the faint yelling in the background. Teruni! Cousin Muto's on the phone. I fucking messed that up a bit. Muto's on the phone. That drives me nuts. Wait, I can edit it. Let me fix that. Otherwise, that will drive me fucking nuts. Because I did this from my phone. There we go. There. It will bug me if I don't fix it. Okay. And it was on the phone. He could tell the phone was being picked back up again by the same boy. He'll be just a sec. Second. Nice to meet you, cousin. I'm Minamoto Cole. I'm Teru's younger brother. Are you alright over there? You're not by yourself during this whole thing, are you? Cole sounded sincere and worried on the phone. The tears Yugi didn't shed at the funeral came back to bite him in the ass as he tries not to cry on the phone to his cousin. No, my friends have been with me. It's why I haven't been home. I've been with one of them. The funeral was today. That's why I'm just now getting home. Ko nearly exploded, his loud, hyper voice nearly busting Yugi's ear. I'm so sorry. Did you bury him or cremate him? Oh, why does that even matter? Daijoubu, are you well? That's when the phone moved from one person to another, as a much kinder but soft voice answered. Go, man, about my brother. Cousin Muto, I'm Minamoto Teru. My father made sure to get lots of things in place in case you decide to move here to live with us. He's paid in advance a mover's truck to come and pack your stuff up, as well as a fund to keep your house off the market until you're 18 and decide what to do with it on your own. He blinked in surprise over all the information he was giving him. So I'd be living with you. Yugi stammered, his face was red. Teru smiled on the opposite end of the phone. Yes, we even have it for you to start school when you get here to Tokyo. Just know this is all for you if you agree to come live with us. But if you don't want to, I understand completely. Joey impatiently, as always, took the phone from Yugi. Joey! He whined as the taller man spoke into the phone. So you can absolutely prove you're related to Yugi, right? He listened for a second. Picture of your aunt? Even a picture of Grandpa? In his youth? Huh. Well then, I understand if he has to move. I promise to do what I can over here for him to get over there to you guys. You can count on me. I'm Joey Wheeler, or how you guys put it. Wheeler Joey? The blonde chuckled on the phone. He knows a couple more times before finally hanging up the phone. Joey gave Yugi's head at Noogie, grinning. You got a wonderful uncle out there, Yugi, and some funny cousins. Bakura looked at the two while he sat with Taya and Tristan. Your family sounds really supportive, Yugi. I know you've never met this part of your family before, but will you seriously move over there? Yugi looked down, contemplating Bakura's words. He moved back to the couch, sitting next to Tristan. He looked at his friends. Even though I want to do this, I mean losing you guys. Tristan patted his shoulder, smiling. His friends all smiled at him. Even Yami gave him a smile as the spirit that nobody could see but him settled on the coffee table in front of the boy. You won't lose us, Yug. We could call, text, video chat, whatever, and whenever. Just 'cause you're 2 cities over, it won't put a dent in our friendship. Plus, you'll have the other you as well. Joey grinned, leaning against the wall by the stairs. Yugi smiled the first time since Grandpa's passing. Was this a sign? Was this a gift from Grandpa in his passing? That he would get family he's never knew of to connect with? He looked to his friends again. You guys would help me get this place packed up? The four of them nodded, looking at their short friend with hopeful glances. They all knew that losing the only family he knew had gotten the young freshman down. With his cousin's welcoming hands, they hoped that Yugi could recover from losing the elderly Muto. We'll make sure you're completely packed up for the movers to take everything. Do you want us to pack up the card shop? Yugi shook his head and looked at his friends. You guys take all the new stuff. I'll keep Grandpa's more sentimental things. The four friends gasped in shock. They didn't expect their friend to give them every pack in the store. You guys are helping me move on. You deserve something in return. Joey started sniffling, hiding his teary eyes in his jacket sleeve as Tristan was doing the same thing. I screwed up on that too. Hiding his eyes in his jacket sleeve as Tristan was doing the same. You're the best little buddy anyone could ask for. They sobbed, choking on their words. His friends were true to their words about helping the young boy with packing his stuff. The movers arrived the day before the flight. They managed to pack up most of Yugi's important things. Only one thing Yugi's stashed in a box that he was going to hide at his cousin's house. His dual disc and deck. As much as he loved messing with the cards, he made a fresh start where he was going. His cards belonged between his grandpa, his friends, and Yami. And since Yami was with him, it's the only reason he's taking his deck and dual disc along. He was going to make sure it stayed hidden either under his new bed or up in the closet. He packed a suitcase of his clothes, but knowing when he got there, whatever school he'd attended, he was going to have a new wardrobe. As long as he got to keep his old school blazer, he didn't mind. He wondered what the uniforms would look like. He wondered a lot of things, as he and his friends got everything packed up. They even brought over a storage cube for all the furniture that Yugi couldn't take with him. All that was left at the end of the day was an empty house and the pictures Yugi had hanging on the wall of him and his friends, and him and his grandpa, which he put safely in his suitcase. It's a fairly decent size, about 14 inches long and 7 inches sideways. They waved goodbye to the movers. By the time he even got on the plane tomorrow, those guys would probably make their way to their house first. Since he was leaving the next day to the airport, everyone decided to have a sleepover at Joey's cozy apartment. You sure you can handle all of us, Joey? Taya said skeptically. Joey rolled his eyes, not acknowledging her words. The blonde male didn't care. He was more than willing to house all of them as their last time to see Yugi until their first video call. He wanted to make it the best moving away party he could. Nothing was going to stop him from partying hard, even if that meant Yugi would possibly pass out on the flight there. Tristan got pizzas ordered. Tay had stopped by the store for drinks. Joey got the TV going, his video games lined up, as well as movies next to it. Bakura grabbed the large blankets from the closet in Joey's closet to set out. Joey's closet to set out so that they could chill and pass out on the floor if need be. When his friends messed around and played on Joey's video game system, Yugi took to his friend's phone and dialed the number again to his cousins. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3. He almost hung up again when he heard the click on their end. Teru ni, don't touch the stove. I'm getting the phone. Domo, Minamoto residence. He heard Cole speak into the receiver, sounding a little winded. Is this a bad time, Cousin Cole? Yugi mumbled, worried he called at a bad time. Cousin Muto, Genki desu ka? How's everything over there? He could hear his cousin jumping, and he slip a bit into the sentence. I'm fine, Cousin Co. I was calling 'cause I got everything packed, and I'll be on the plane tomorrow. He heard something fall and what sounded like running feet to the phone. Domo! What did you say to Koni-san? It was a squeaky, adorable voice on the phone, belonging to someone even younger. I said I was getting on the plane tomorrow. Is Ko alright? Yugi said, panically. There was rustling on the other end of the phone. He's out cold. He fainted at the phone. Teru, Oni-san, turn off the stove. Koni-san is out. The little girl nearly broke his eardrum as she yelled for her older brother. I'll call back later. Please excuse me. Yugi hung up the phone, paling a little. His friends looked over at him from their spots on the floor. Oh, this stupid thing. I hate this thing popping up. There we go. What happened, Yugi? Bakura spoke up first, mid-pizza chew. Yugi sweat heavily, hanging his head. He could hear Yami laughing in his ear from the phone conversation. I think I just killed my younger cousin. That made Yami physically fall on the floor laughing, even though only he could see him laughing. Shut up, it's not funny! Yugi pouted, looking at his dark, half laughing like a 6-year-old you just told a bathroom joke to. Oh, yes it is! The older spirit was wiping tears from his eyes, hiding a huge smirk he had on his face from laughing. Yugi just leered at the ghost as he walked to his friends who passed him a pizza slice and a Coke while Joe and Tristan fight each other in Mortal Kombat, enjoying kicking the crap out of each other. Everyone slowly passed out. Taya was first because she drank herself into a Coke coma. Bakura fell asleep during a horror movie, which was ironic because he's afraid of them. Tristan nodded off, eating a slice of pizza somehow. Yugi and Joey were enjoying themselves and ended up passing out just after midnight. Yugi's suitcase was parked by the front door, his ticket in his blazer pocket, which hung on the coat rack. The ticket said the time for takeoff was 9:40 in the morning. Hopefully, they will be well rested. Meanwhile, Cole, can you hear me? Minamoto Teru was shaking his brother, who passed out due to talking on the phone. The person who called hung up a bit ago. Of course, the youngest Minamoto, being 5-year-old Tiara, obviously didn't ask who was at the phone. Ko, in his slump, looked at his taller older brother, same blue eyes, same blonde hair, and smiled a little. Terni, Kazumoto's gonna be here tomorrow. Teru dropped his brother on the ground, making the poor boy hit his head again in the same spot. I better get things ready. Teru sweated as he walked past his again unconscious brother. The little sister jumped up and down on her dear brother's chest. Ko-Nisan, don't leave me. Teru-Nisan will kill me in 3 days. I made this joke because if you're not familiar with Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, Ko is basically the house mother. He's cooking, he's cleaning, he's doing everything that his idiot older brother cannot do properly because he cannot cook for shit. So this is a joke involving that. And I make the sister this joke because it's funny. The sister had shoulder-length messy hair, and bangs with blue eyes as well. She started crying a little, laying on Ko's unconscious body as tearfully left, feeling ashamed and embarrassed that his brother had the cooking prowess none of them possessed. See, there it is right there mentioned. Ko eventually regains consciousness and then proceeds to scold his siblings for thinking he was dead. Things would only get crazier from there once their dear cousin arrives the next day. And that, you guys, is just chapter 1. And luckily, I finished it finish telling you guys all this in less than 30 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed this shit. I enjoyed reading this. Honestly, it makes me feel really good because this is something I really, really enjoy. I know some it doesn't sound quite put all together, but it's a really good story. I hope you guys actually want to read it yourselves. You comment on the story itself, not just on this video. It'll make me feel good if you actually tune in and watch this video as well when it premieres. Again, I'm reminding you guys, next month I will be doing Doki Doki Literature Club. As for this month, I will be getting back on and playing more of Our World Is Ended, so I can see how well that swimsuit events are going. I will be starting that pretty soon, starting that back up pretty soon. Until then, enjoy these little chapters I've decided to read for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.